The best skip tracing for real estate investors and wholesalers in real estate investing and wholesaling real estate. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I'm gonna break down some of the best skip tracing services you need to be using and my top recommendations for you. But before we get into it, do me a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe, and let's break it down. So, as somebody that has done over 1,000 real estate wholesaling deals, I have gone through a lot of skip tracing, and everybody knows I love cold calling, I love SMS text blasting, I love all these strategies that require skip tracing, getting somebody's phone numbers. What I want to do is break down the best services out there for skip tracing when it comes to wholesaling real estate and real estate investing, so you know which services I highly recommend, which ones I don't recommend, and I'm gonna break down the prices on everything too so you can understand it and so you can actually make, this is shocking, nobody in wholesaling talks about this, but so you can make your own objective opinion. I think this is a shocker for most people, but really where I wanna put the ball in your court on your decision for your real estate wholesaling business and your real estate investing business. So let's kind of talk about skip tracing for wholesaling real estate. So the first question I always get is like, Zach, what is skip tracing? And skip tracing more or less is just finding somebody's phone number. It's basically a detective's term for finding somebody's whereabouts. So for example, someone has like a vacant list of a property that's just sitting there abandoned, and you want to get their phone number and actually call them and see if they want to sell the property. The best way to do it is skip tracing. Most people pay a service to go actually find somebody's phone number. What I want you to do is be actually educated on the skip tracing process. No one ever explains skip tracing or how the back end actually works, and somebody that follows up on these companies actually see how they work on the back end, so I can actually give you the best skip tracing companies, not ones that I own, so I can actually break it down. So there's two ways more or less of finding somebody's phone number that a skip tracing company can get their data. And number one is like from a free service. What they basically do is they compile a bunch of information from you. So if you ever put your phone number on like a free survey or like a free service or something, sometimes that info gets leaked. Sometimes that survey information, you click the promotional thing and it gets put out there once. You do like maybe you do like a garage sale and you post it online. You go on Facebook, you put your name and your phone number on there. This information gets scraped everywhere across the internet, and if they can associate your name and your address with a phone number, it's going to be posted somewhere online for free. If you search up someone's name, phone number, and address, sometimes it actually pops up, and sometimes your age. It's kind of scary, but it's absolutely true. So that is one way someone finds your phone number. The second way, which is the one that you should be paying for something, this is when you pay for a service. This is basically what more or less they call in the industry credit bureau data. And some skip tracing services says we don't use credit bureau data, they use a mix and they don't want to say it, but most skip tracing services use a quote unquote credit bureau data. What I want to do is have you educated on the process industry. So basically how that works, more or less, is when you apply for credit, where most people are like, I don't want to apply for credit. Well, most of you do. So if you have a mortgage, a credit card, which I would put most Americans have a mortgage or a credit card, or they've applied for credit, or heck, they even check their credit score, which is a reason why a lot of companies sometimes give you free credit checks to get your information. And how do you think these companies make money? Like, I get a free credit score, how am I gonna make money? Guess what? They sell that data from the credit bureau service to a company where basically they'll just sell that phone number, and then you can get a service that you actually pay, and then you get that information from the credit bureau. That's why it's called credit bureau data. Also, that is why a lot of these credit bureau sites are absolutely free, so you can actually, you give up your information, they sell your information, and that's how they make money, right? I don't want to expose the industry more or less, but it's not my place to judge or anything like that, but that's how it is, and that's how it works, and that's how most people, if you use a skip tracing website and you pay for it, you can get pretty much everyone's phone number out there. Pretty much you pay a cost, right? And skip tracing used to cost like $1 to $2 per record, and now it's going down to like, I've seen 10 cents, I've seen 15 cents. Some people actually offer 2 cents. I want to break that all down today. But those are basically the two ways to do it. So there's two big services out here. There's like an IDI, and there's other type of like big companies out here that compile this information. And they actually compile it and they actually sell it to a real estate investing skip tracing service. I'm not going to name any names on who does this, but I'll say most of the biggest industry players actually do this. They have a contract like TLO, IDI, sometimes CoreLogic does this, and those are big companies. And legal disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, CPA, I'm not saying what these companies are, but a lot of them do use these companies. I've actually have dealt with companies that I own that have used these services before, and that's how they usually get them. More or less, all these companies are going to say they have their own independent list pulling site where they find this stuff. And let me just give you the honest truth. Like I can get in trouble for saying this, I don't care because I'm not mentioning any names, but I would say that some of the top services out here, they'll just go to an IDI or TLO, they'll buy their information for like 8 cents, and then they'll sell it to you for 12 cents, 13 cents, 14 cents, 10 cents, and they'll make 2 to 3 cents per record, and then, hey, they make a profit off of that. That's what most of these skip tracing websites do, and there's no problem with it. Again, if you're going to get that service for 8 cents, you have to commit to like 100,000, a million records a month, which most of you guys can't do, but those skip tracing sites can do. So it makes sense for them. And it's a free market. They can do whatever they want. But that's the truth of these skip tracing sites. So if you find somebody that is offering skip tracing for 15 cents, just understand, probably cost them 8, 9, 10 cents. They got overheads, all this, they charge you 15 cents. It's pretty justified on why they cost that much. So when you look at paid skip tracing, most of these services get the paid skip tracing for 6 or 7 cents for a fixed cost. And they have VAs, they have people that are actually automating the software, people that are working on the software, they got marketing. So if you find a skip tracing service that is offering less than 10 cents per record, most of the time, they are not using credit bureau data. They're using a mix of credit bureau and sometimes with that free stuff. And that is why some services are very cheap, because it's actually not quality data. It's actually not credit bureau data from the credit bureau companies and from those big companies. So just be aware, I want to give, before I kind of break down the services, I want you to understand how the services work, that if usually as of this video, if it's under 10 cents, it's not going to be good quality data. Heck, I've seen people do free stuff and charge that much, so you have to use your independent research, but that's the truth of how these services work. So let's break down some of the top ones out here. And I'm not mentioning any of these on this list do any of this stuff. They're all going to tell you they use their own independent research. They do the proprietary information. They can't tell you because obviously they're not going to tell you how they do it for competitors. But I know the back end to how these work, and some of them don't tell me, but I know most of them. And these are the services that I've independently used in my own business that I've done deals with, which if I've done a ton of deals using these skip tracing platforms, I know for a fact that if you use them, good chance you're not going to go wrong with them. So let's break down my top free one. Everyone knows my top free one's TruePeopleSearch.com. TruePeopleSearch.com, TruePeopleSearch.com. TruePeopleSearch.com is a free one. They basically scrape stuff from the internet and give it to you for free. It's very manual. You can't really batch it all in there like you can with a paid service. That's the benefit you get with the paid service, right? I can't do 1,000 or 10,000 at a time on a free service like this, but it's free. So you get what you pay for sometimes with these services. It's about 50, 55-ish to maybe even 65% depending on the market of the person effective. So you're roughly 50 to 65% effective. It's very variable sometimes of skip tracing, or you can get someone's phone number on there. You're gonna get 3 phone numbers on there and you can deal with that from there. You get relatives information. You actually get emails pretty well on there. So the cool part about True People Search, it's free and you actually get people's emails. So if you can't reach somebody, it actually works really well because you can actually email them. So that works really well. Now let's talk about paid services, right? ListREI.com, ListREI.com. It's about 75 to 85% effective because you got to pay for it. This is around 12 cents per record. I have no knowledge of what they use on their back end on this because to a point, even if they told me, I can't disclose it to you. But what I can tell you over this video is that I've used their service and I've done plenty of deals from it. It works very well. It is not my favorite one out there, but it's definitely very, very cheap. It's 12 cents each, and for being 75 to 85% effective, it works really well. Now, as of this video, if you're watching this a year, so if this video is a year old or 2 years old, maybe ListREI.com changed their algorithm. Maybe it's the best skip trace in the world. every single year, a lot of these companies change how they get their data, their algorithm, their pricing. So this is a video that is for as of I'm recording this video. The one thing I could give you about PropStream, aka ListREI.com, is their skip tracing the past 2 years has gone from okay-ish to actually really good. So they are definitely improving it by keeping the cost the same. I expect most skip tracing platforms to do this, but I will tell you that they probably have the best improvement I've seen. Not my favorite one all time here, but it's actually very cheap. And if you do have a membership to ListREI.com, a subscription, I think it's really good. Let me just tell you my favorite skip tracing platform. This is BatchLeads, aka ZachData.com. It's around 13 to 15 cents per record. It's about 80 to 90% effective. So it's about 13, 15 cents per record there. If you want to get 50% off of it, just use code ZACH, Z-A-C-H, to get 50% off the skip tracing. That works really well too, but it's a little more expensive, but it's pretty much the highest quality data you can get. They use multiple services they get all their information from, and proprietary information, so I can't break down too much from it. But I do know the owners there, and they have a mix of everything. They're very high quality, so they do really, really well. I've seen about 80 to 90% effectiveness on it, and it's a little more expensive, obviously, but it's the best data out there. So hands down, still one of my favorite ones out there. What are some of the other services out there? So if you don't like Batch, ZachData.com, ListREI.com, PropStream, there are other paid services that I've used that I don't recommend, but they're ones that I have used and I've gotten lots of deals from. So I will tell you, number one is LeadSherpa. LeadSherpa is actually a really cool option because you don't need a subscription for it. It's around 15 cents. Really, really good service. I've actually done a lot of SMS. I've never done a cold calling deal from any of those lists, but I stand corrected. I've actually cold called past SMS lists and gotten deals from it. So yes, I technically have gotten cold calling deals, but mostly SMS deals from my testing of it on LeadSherpa. This is over 2 years, these lists, so it's been a little bit, but LeadSherpa, I still know people doing really well for it. 15 cents, you don't need a subscription. Definitely recommend it. I like Batch and PropStream better, but without a subscription, if you're doing like 100, it actually works pretty well. Launch Control is another one I've actually done really good success with. That's about 15 cents. Both these services I would say are about 70% effective, so not bad. One other thing I'll tell you is to avoid, don't do Fiverr. Don't do a service that's offering 2 to 3 cents per lead. They're using TruePeopleSearch.com and they're manually just selling free data to you. It's not good. The reason why I said Launch Control, LeadSherpa, Batch, PropStream, these are big companies. These are companies run by actual software people. Some of them are actually real estate investors, but a lot of them are software people. And the reason why it's so good is because, number one, I've seen a lot of skip tracing companies that are owned by wholesalers that don't do well. Not naming any names, but I actually know some places that actually charge for skip tracing, very small companies, and you'll pay money to skip trace. They'll give you your data, but they'll keep their own data and actually use your own skip trace list and steal your data, sell your data. I don't like VAs because VAs will actually sell you other wholesalers they worked for lists, like a list of 100,000 in Houston, they'll sell it to you. That's why I don't like Fiverr, the VAs with it. They're pretty sharky. And be wary of softwares that offer free skip tracing if you pay for it. Like, oh, you get unlimited skip tracing for free, guys. Services like that do it, and then they usually quit. I know one service that actually offered free skip tracing if you went to their platform, and they pulled the rug under you and they said, nope, we're not doing any skip tracing anymore for free. And they basically put you in a contract. And I see it happen all the time. Just remember, guys, if it's too good to be true, it most likely is. Those are the services I recommend. You should test these out and see which one works best for you. Some service might be better for you, some service might not. You, at the end of the day, got to make that own decision for yourself. At the end of the day, if you use any of these skip tracing platforms, you can't blame the skip tracing. If you use a bad platform, it's your fault. I talk to people all the time that say, oh, Zach, the skip tracing is terrible, or my list is terrible, and just my market's terrible. Tennessee's the worst market ever. I'm like, who's your skip tracing? Oh, I have a VA from Fiverr. That's probably why. So guys, at the end of the day, these are my favorite skip tracing platforms. These are the ones that you should be using, the ones that will give you the best success possible. So if you got any value from this video, do me a big favor, smash that like button and subscribe. You might have the best skip tracing in the world, but if you have a terrible script, your skip tracing is gonna absolutely be terrible. So do me a big favor, go to freewholesaling.com. That is my free real estate wholesaling course where I break down the entire real estate wholesaling process absolutely for free from A to Z, the right SMS text blasting scripts, the best cold calling scripts. The entire process of wholesaling real estate is on there from A to Z. It's a $10,000 course I give for the low price of free. So guys, I really appreciate your support here. Smash that like button and subscribe. Check out freewholesaling.com and we'll see you soon. Have a blessed one.